Hi, my name is Nuzokoma. That is $1 million picture of myself. I'll be taking over for Life Sciences Grade 10. Welcome to ExtraSci. We'll start off at cell structures and functions. So, what are cells? We can define cells as being the smallest form or unit of life. They are also the functional and structural units of all living things, hence all life. This means that they control the functions of life and the structures of life. So how your body structures depends on your cells, and how your body functions also depends on your cells. So they are the functional and structural units of all living things, hence all life. Your body contains several billions of cells with cell-specific functions, meaning that each cell has its own specific function. This is through differentiation and specialization. Differentiation is a process whereby the cells are modified or changed for specific structures, and then specialization is a process whereby the cells become specialized to perform specific functions. So the cell all look the same, they are differentiated, they now have different structures, different shapes, and different sizes, and then they are specialized to having different functions. And at this section, we'll be studying the living cell, which is both the animal and the plant cell. Then we'll move over to the plant cell, studying its individual organelles, which are the organelles that are unique to the plant cell and are not found in the animal cell. These are the cell structures, the two-dimensional and the three-dimensional representation. They are both the animal cell. So just try and put up the labelings of the 2D structure with the numbering of the 3D structure. And right now I want you to take a mental picture of number 7, which is the plasma membrane, and number 11, which is the cytoplasm. So number 7 is the plasma membrane and number 11 is the cytoplasm. Let's get right to it with the living cells, animal and plant. We'll first look at the similarities. All cells are made up of living material, but the cell wall is non-living. All cells have a cytoplasm, which is a jelly-like fluid enclosed by the cell membrane, and all cells have inclusions inside the cytoplasm, which are called organelles, and these organelles are membrane-bound structures that perform specific functions. So let's look at that. All cells are made up of living material. All of this is living material, but the cell wall is non-living. The cell wall is like a structure that goes around the cell membrane here, and we can only find it in plant cells. All of them have a cytoplasm. All of this space out here, number 11, it's a cytoplasm, and these are the organelles which are found inside the cytoplasm. They are said to be membrane-bound structures because we found them inside of the cell membrane and they cannot get out. So all of these are the organelles that are membrane-bound. Now we look at the differences. As I've said, plant cells have a cell wall, but the animal cells do not have a cell wall. The plant cells have plastids and the animal cells do not have plastids. We'll look at plastids later on in this video. The plant cells have a large vacuole and the animal cells have a small vacuole. There you can see the vacuole right there. It is very small because this is an animal cell. If it were a plant cell, the vacuole would be much larger. Plant cells have a fixed shape and animal cells have an irregular shape. As you can see the irregular shape of the animal cell, if we were looking at the plant cell, it would have the cell wall, as I said, and the cell wall will make it look like it was having a fixed shape. Remember I said take a mental picture of the cell membrane, because we'll be looking at the cell membrane, or the plasma membrane it can be called. The cell membrane is very thin and forms the outer boundary of the cytoplasm. The cell membrane surrounds and protects the cytoplasm, and it allows movement of substances in and out of the cell, and it allows the cell to acquire nutrients and excrete waste products. It is selectively permeable, which means it only allows specific substances to move through. We are looking at the cell membrane. We said it was a boundary around the cell. As you can see, it surrounds the cytoplasm and protects the cytoplasm and all of the organelles. It also allows for substances to move in and out. As I've said, it allows nutrients to enter and waste products to exit. It is also said to be selectively permeable. It means that it allows specific substances to move through. Not everything can just enter and exit the cell through the cell membrane. It selects what can move through. It is selectively permeable. This movement that I'm talking about is through diffusion, osmosis, and active transport. Looking at diffusion, osmosis, and active transport now, starting off with diffusion. Diffusion can be defined as the movement of a liquid or a gas from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. So imagine you have region A here and region B all the way here. If we had more concentration at A and a less concentration at B, the gas would move from a high concentration all the way to the low concentration. So it's moving from A all the way to B. That is diffusion of a gas. Then we're looking at osmosis. Osmosis is a special diffusion of water molecules across a selectively permeable membrane. As you'll remember, the cell membrane was said to be selectively permeable. So if water is diffusing through the cell membrane, this is called osmosis. So osmosis and diffusion work the same. They go from a region of high concentration to a region of low concentration. But for active transport now, active transport is the movement of particles from a low concentration to a region of high concentration. Remember, we said we had A over here with the high concentration and B over here with the low concentration. If we're talking about active transports, they will move from B all the way to A, the opposite of diffusion. Now we are looking at the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance which is enclosed by the cell membrane. As we said, that the cell membrane encloses the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm also maintains the shape of the cell. So whether the cell is fixed like the plant cell or irregular like the animal cell, it depends on the cytoplasm. It also suspends and transports organelles around the cell. As we saw that our organelles were on the cytoplasm, it is said that the cytoplasm suspends, or you can say the cytoplasm holds and can also transport the organelles around the cell. So the organelles can then move around the cell through the cytoplasm. It is also the site for most cellular activities. As I said, most cellular activities. Some cellular activities happen inside the nucleus. This is the site for most cellular activities like metabolism and cell division. Metabolism can be explained as the processes that are responsible for life. So metabolism involves all of the chemical processes responsible for life, like breathing. You like breathing in and out, you're taking in oxygen, releasing carbon dioxide. That is a chemical process responsible for life. We move over to the nucleus. The nucleus is prominent, which means it can be easily seen. There is a picture of the nucleus there. It is round or oval in structure, and it controls all of the activities of the cell, which means that it is a control center. Remember, we said that the plasma membrane or the cell membrane allows substances to enter and exit. It doesn't control that activity. The nucleus decides whether it wants substances to enter and exit, and the cell membrane allows them to enter and exit. And the cytoplasm will move organelles around the cell. That is also controlled by the nucleus. And also another thing controlled by the nucleus is metabolism, because we said metabolism happens inside the cytoplasm, but now we are saying that the nucleus controls all of these activities. So whether it's diffusion, osmosis, active transport, or metabolism, it is all controlled by the nucleus. The nucleus also carries genetic material of the cell. This genetic material is in the form of DNA. The nucleus also contains inclusions such as the nuclear membrane, which has nuclear pores, and inside the nucleus we find a nucleolus and a chromatin network. The nucleolus and the chromatin network are suspended in the nucleoplasm. The nucleoplasm is very similar to the cytoplasm, as it suspends the nucleolus and the chromatin. There is the nucleus again. You can see the nuclear membrane, nucleolus, nuclear pore, and chromatin network, as I've said. You can see that the nuclear membrane goes all the way around the nucleus and has these small openings here. These small openings are called nuclear pores. Now, the nuclear membrane is a double membrane that consists of small pores. These nuclear pores are the controls of what goes in and out of the nucleus. So unlike the plasma membrane, as I've said, the plasma membrane does not control what goes in and out. It only allows things to go in and out. It is the nucleus that controls what goes in and out of the cell. But now that we are studying the nucleus alone, we find that it is the nuclear pore that controls what goes in and out of the nucleus. And then we also have a nucleolus. The nucleolus, you can think of it as the nucleus of the nucleus, although it has a different function because it just contains RNA and proteins. So it's just the storage for RNA and proteins. And then there's the chromatin network. The chromatin network are tangled threads that form chromosomes.